Is there a fourth stimulus check? Monthly $2,000 payment depends in Congress as White House focuses in child tax credit, jobs. Whether Americans get a fourth COVID-19 stimulus check or more depends on Congress, which has not yet moved forward on progressives' proposals to issue monthly $2,000 checks for the duration of the pandemic. That's the message delivered by the Biden administration this week when asked if Americans could expect another round of payments. As of Wednesday, the federal government has sent out more than 164 million stimulus payments of $1,400 since President Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan in March. The expense has added up to $386 billion, and White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki alluded to stimulus check funding without mentioning figures during a news briefing this week. "We'll see what members of Congress propose, but those are not free," Psaki said when pressed on the matter. She noted that the American Rescue Plan included an historic temporary expansion of the child tax credit, which will see monthly payments sent to parents starting in July. Parents will receive $3,000 per child aged 6 to 17 and $3,600 for every child under 6. Democratic leaders and the Massachusetts delegation have called for the expansion to remain permanent, while a new proposal from Biden would extend it to 2025. In a letter led by Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon and including Massachusetts Democrats Senator Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, 21 lawmakers in late March pressed Biden to include monthly payments and automatic extensions to unemployment insurance in any future recovery efforts. In May of 2020, Sens. Ed Markey and Bernie Sanders, and then Senator Kamala Harris introduced legislation that would send Americans recurring $2,000 checks. A single direct payment will not last long for most families, and we are worried about the cliff facing unemployed workers when the unemployment insurance extensions expire on September 6, the lawmakers wrote in March. This crisis is far from over, and families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions. At least 50 Democrats in the House of Representatives have similarly called for further or ongoing stimulus checks during the pandemic. Nearly two-thirds of Americans are on board with the recurring checks proposal, according to a January poll from Data for Progress, a progressive polling and advocacy group. A March Politico Morning Consult poll showed at least 72% of Americans backed Biden's previous relief bill. The president has since announced a pair of nearly $2 trillion packages, one on infrastructure and jobs and another on families and education. Neither includes direct payments to as many Americans as the COVID-19 relief bills. Former President Donald Trump signed packages that sent $1,200 and $600 to tens of millions of Americans after the pandemic sent the economy in a tailspin. During his address to a joint session of Congress last week, Biden touted the checks sent to 85% of all American households. "It's making a difference." But he did not commit to calling for more. "We're continuing to evaluate what Americans' needs are to continue to get the pandemic under control and get people back to work, but we also think the child tax credit will have a long-term benefit," Psaki said. To get Biden's expansive economic recovery packages or any new stimulus checks through Congress may be a tall order. Getting the American Rescue Plan to Biden's desk meant Democrats had to attach the package to Congress's annual budget reconciliation bill, which only requires support from a simple majority to move forward in the U.S. Senate. The move sidestepped the Senate's typical requirement for two-thirds majority support, which is a near impossibility for any further stimulus packages, because it would require backing from at least 10 Republicans in the 50-50 split Senate. No GOP members voted in favor of the American Rescue Plan, and even some conservative Democrats balked at previous attempts to issue $2,000 checks. Fourth stimulus check up to Congress, 1.1 million payments just went out. The most recent batch of stimulus payments is in the process of being distributed by the Internal Revenue Service. Whether there will be a fourth stimulus payment remains to be seen and is up to Congress, according to White House officials. The IRS announced Wednesday it is disbursing more than 1.1 million payments in the eighth batch from President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan. Americans have previously received two other stimulus payments, $1,200 in March 2020 during the early days of the coronavirus pandemic and $600 in December 2020. The latest payment, approved in March 2021, includes up to $1,400 for single people and dependents and $2,800 for married couples. Of the latest batch of payments, $580,000 went to eligible individuals for whom the IRS previously did not have information to issue an economic impact payment but who recently filed a tax return. Another $570,000 payments were plus-up checks paid to people who were eligible for additional money based on their recently processed tax returns. More of the stimulus checks will be paid in the coming weeks, the IRS said. Fourth stimulus check? Discussions of a fourth stimulus check have continued, but the White House indicated it will be up to Congress to move forward with another round. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked this week if another round of direct payments was a possibility in Biden's latest proposals, either the American Jobs Plan or the American Families Plan. We'll see what members of Congress propose, but those are not free, Psaki said of stimulus checks. The president has acknowledged the direct payments are helping people, but has stopped short of endorsing another round. We kept our commitment and we are sending $1,400 rescue checks to 85% of all American households. We've already sent more than 160 million checks out the door. It's making a difference, Biden said last week.